Alright, welcome back to the New Sentinel, everyone. Today we're digging into the federal presence lighting up city streets, especially in places like DC, Philly, and Chicago. Now, I know a lot of you have seen the headlines about National Guard troops moving in, streets crawling with officers, and, let's be honest, a whole lot of confusion out there. The latest count is what, over 600 arrests in the last 10 days? The scale of it is staggering. But I keep thinking back to my own unit's time during Katrina. Lines got real blurry. Fed, local, nobody could quite tell who was in charge. I remember staring at a binder thick with jurisdiction checklists. I thought, who's making the actual decision when stuff goes pear-shaped out here? That tension, it ain't gone. So, is this a good thing or a federal headache in the making?
Yeah, Chukwuka, you're right. Saw plenty of that myself back in New Orleans. Federal troops, by law, are supposed to be hands-off when it comes to everyday police work. That's the Posse Comitatus Act. But lately, Trump's really been putting that to the test. In D.C., the National Guard aren't making arrests officially, but you've got them doing patrols, showing force. Meanwhile, ICE and CBP folks, they're making plenty of the actual arrests, nearly 600 already. But you throw all these agencies together and, man, it gets messy quick. I get why suburban folks might see this as rescue ops, but walk a block through Columbia Heights right now and you'll see fear, not relief.
Exactly, Ethan. And so much of this is about perception. Federal agents in military gear are supposed to make people feel safe, but sometimes it scares them more. Lots of people in these neighborhoods have seen this before, except usually on TV in other countries. Now it's in their backyard, and rights groups are already filing suits. The legal battle, especially over Posse Comitatus, is just getting started, and meanwhile, families are protesting because they feel under siege. We can't forget, community trust isn't rebuilt with armored vehicles on the block.
Look, I gotta jump in. Show of force works. That's what finally gets bodies off the street, stops the bad guys. During my third deployment, if you didn't have overwhelming presence, the bad actors just filled the vacuum. So, 600 plus arrests? That's not a bug, that's a feature. We cleared 76 illegal firearms, took out MS-13 creeps. Even the stats from MPD say DC is safer. Will some people complain? Sure. But you want less crime, you need boots on the ground and teeth behind the law, period.
But there's still the question, Duke. Does it stick? We've seen short-term crime drops every time the feds sweep in. Then what? Folks start to resent it, and suddenly that trust is shot, like we discussed last episode. I'm not saying crackdowns don't work, but does that mean we accept federal overreach as the new normal every time local government stumbles?
It's a trade-off, isn't it? People want quick results, but there's always that constitutional risk. You flood a town with outside muscle, community wounds open fast. Ask any cop or guardsman, ain't a playbook for winning both the numbers game and the hearts and minds mission overnight.
And those wounds don't close easy. There's protests, legal challenges, even business impacts. Look at Restaurant Week. Workers too scared to show up, diners nervous. When the solution makes things even harder for regular people, we need to ask, what are we trying to save?
I hear you, but we can't just talk this stuff to death either. You want streets safe now, not 2 years from now after a commission. And yeah, making omelets, you break eggs. That's just how it is, boots or no boots.
While we're on the subject of shifting power and top-down moves, let's talk about what's happening between California and Texas. It's, almost like a chess match, except everyone's king is at risk. So on one side, you've got Texas. Republicans, with support from President Trump, rammed through a map consolidating rural districts and making it harder for urban minority voters to have a voice, especially in places like Houston and Dallas. California, meanwhile, is not just sitting still. Governor Newsom signs emergency legislation calling a special election to redraw their map, expanding majority-minority districts, especially in Latino and coastal areas. There's a special election, Prop 50, in November. It's become a national thing overnight. $6.2 million in fundraising just last week. Every advocacy group is piling on. Lawsuits too. That's big money. American-style democracy.
You know, Olga, when I heard Newsom got $6.2 million in 7 days, my first thought was, what's the price of a district then? But seriously, both sides claim to be fighting for democracy, but it's all about drawing lines for power. Texas is trying to lock in rural gains. California's playing for the urban and minority votes. And now, the feds are peeking under the hood, talking about Voting Rights Act scrutiny. Never seen a map war quite like this one.
This is what you get. One side moves, the other goes harder. Texas redistricts for rural constants. California redraws for urban. Let's cut the noise. It's all gerrymandering. One side just pretends it's for equity. The other calls it fairness. Ain't nothing new. Voters are the ones caught in the crossfire, trying to figure out who the hell really speaks for them next year.
But Duke, in a perfect world, more voters would decide, not just politicians. At least in California, the legislature is letting people have the final say with a ballot measure. In Russia, I've seen districts sliced and diced overnight without so much as a public hearing. The U.S. system isn't perfect, but open elections are still better than closed doors and ink pens moving lines in the night.
Yeah, Olga, but those open elections? PACs drowning everything in cash, teams of lawyers muddying the waters. It's hard not to be cynical. Bottom line, no matter how you draw the map, the big dogs find a way to bite. DOJ's peering down both states' necks, looking to make an example of someone if it smells funny. Man, it's a battlefield before a single vote's even cast.
I suppose the only thing more chaotic than the new voting districts is the wave of messaging trying to sell them. Flyers, social posts, direct mail. I mean, you're practically drowning in it if you live in Houston or LA. By November, folks might not even recognize their own ballot. Is that what democracy was meant to look like?
Or maybe it always looked like this, just less high def. Welcome to the new map wars, y'all.
Let's bring it down to street level, literally. What's been happening to DC delivery drivers is wild. You've got ICE working with DC police, running stops on mopeds all over Columbia Heights and Shaw. They're checking for helmet violations, expired tags, but what they really want is to catch undocumented workers. DC is supposed to be a sanctuary city, so these tactics are, well, skirting the rules at best. But the ripple effect, it's real. Restaurant owners say business cratered because workers are too scared to show up, and I don't blame them one bit.
Reminds me of some of those security checkpoints we set up overseas, traffic stops with a tactical purpose. Out there, it was about insurgents and contraband, but here, it's people trying to deliver dinner. I get the need for discipline. Hell, I've run my share of stops. But you gotta wonder about the cost when tactical policing becomes people's daily commute. I mean, you get your objective, but at what price for the community?
Absolutely, Ethan. Think about what that fear does. The missed paychecks, the children who wonder why their parents don't come home on time, even the stress on the restaurants just trying to survive. The human cost is enormous. Legal or not, circumventing sanctuary laws undermines the will of the people who elected those protections. Yes, we want order, but how many families will we disrupt in the name of it?
Look, when you skirt the law, you pay the price. I've been through plenty of checkpoints, seen discipline break down whole networks. Stats don't lie. Over 200 arrests tied to immigration in the last sweep, most in just a couple neighborhoods. It hits businesses, sure, but you don't fix illegal migration by looking away. If folks obeyed the law, they wouldn't have to worry about helmet checks turning into ICE stops.
But Duke, you know as well as I do, systems aren't perfect. When the people getting squeezed are just trying to scrape by, maybe it's time to ask how much discipline helps and how much it disrupts. Every crackdown brings consequences way beyond the headline numbers. The streets don't lie, either.
And let's not forget, the fear alone causes harm. Delivery drivers are part of the city heartbeat. If they're gone, neighborhoods change. That's the story we risk ignoring. Real lives shuffled around behind the statistics.
If you want hearts and minds, you can't just hand out tickets and boomerang people out of town. Law without trust is just more trouble down the road. Saw that firsthand in and out of uniform.
It's a balancing act. Always is. But let's not sugarcoat it. Secure borders and safe streets mean tough calls. No way around it. Doesn't make the conversation any easier, though.
And that's where we'll leave it for today. Federal lines, new maps, boots and mopeds. It's all part of the battleground inside America's own borders, folks. Thanks for sticking with us again. Olga, Duke, Major, great perspectives as always.
Thanks, everyone. Next time, maybe we'll get a happier headline, yes?
See you guys next time. Keep your wits sharp out there.
Roger that. Good talk, team. Stay alert and stay free, y'all.
And from all of us at the New Sentinel, take care, and we'll be back soon with more. Cheers.